Alright, time for another draft physics video presentation. More of the same comments, just going over the same argument over and over again because these people are just such liars. They just don't listen to anything said. It's such a simple story and they just keep lying. Ugh. Anyway, so I blocked them now because this is just a waste. This is such a waste of time. I shouldn't waste anybody else's time with this inane conversation with this lunatic. If you have more to say, you can email me, but you're not making public comments on my videos. They're just full of lies. I mean, fuck it. Anyway, you accuse me of not watching the video. It's clearly you haven't watched the video. The argument is clear. Okay, you have to account for physics girls' statements. You have to account for the professor's statements that momentum is conserved, yet half the kinetic energy is lost. That's their assertion, idiot. And you haven't paid any attention to it. Okay. Because I refuse to accept your false assertions, so I haven't made any about what they said. I'll request this from you again. Fuck you. Okay, give us the timestamp where physics girl says you gain total energy in a collision. I never said she said that. So it's an overt lie. You put in capital letters. I never said any such things. You can never accurately quote anybody. I said, what's the difference between these two scenarios? I take a heavy train and crash it into a light train, or a light train into a heavy train. Obviously, the two scenarios are the same. So if she's going to say that if I crash the light train and make a heavy train, I lose energy, the exact opposite has to be true, that I will gain kinetic energy by crashing the heavy train into the light train. And that's what I said. So you're just a fucking liar. You continue to just lie. Okay. You made the assertion, now back it up. I don't have to back anything up. I've already asked you to back it up. I've asked you to provide me a link to any video on the internet that shows how you can save the same momentum and then make some idiotic claim that somehow energy was lost or gained. Same exact momentum, but there's more or less energy. How can that be possible ever? Asshole, lunatic. It can't be, because you're an idiot. Anyway. It should be easy for you to write questions. This is all just nonsense talk. You've watched all the videos. I didn't, right? It's more, what is it? You're just talking shit. That's why I'm reading this in the video. It's just I couldn't possibly endure having to read it twice. So I'm just going to read it this once and be done with this asshole. So go ahead and show us the direct quote where she says, so he says the same thing again. She says that the lighter object gains more energy compared to the previous total kinetic energy. If the heavier object loses half its momentum, then when it bangs into a lighter object, it must gain the same thing. The math dictates it. The formula dictates it. V squared, asshole. That's what the whole conversation about. That's what the V squared means. If I go from a low V to a high V, the V is squared, shithead. So that means there has to be more energy, you fucking asshole. You're just so fucking dumb. Alright. Show us where physics girl anyone described this scenario. Show us. I never stated that's what she did. I said right in the video. I overtly said in the video. They both did the video by showing how it loses energy. But if they tried to do the same video by having just the opposite scenario, just have the heavy train hit the lighter train, do the same exact video and show us how it makes any sense, because then they'd have to say, hey, it gained 50% more kinetic energy. That's what they'd have to say. And it would sound to everybody would know, that can't happen, that's free energy. Oh, God, you're such a liar. Anyway. Okay, where does this happen in real life? Yeah, that's the question, right? So show us the experiment where any of this kinetic energy is different than momentum stuff. Show us something that has more kinetic energy than it has momentum. Show me this object. So when the big giant ball, lead ball comes swinging down, this is what I already said. Okay, so he's going to say something to that. Let's see. The specific scenario was that was described involved an object of larger mass crashing into an object of smaller mass. It involved an equation that squares the velocity, asshole. So it doesn't matter whether you're going from small to big or big to small, it still creates the same insane disproportion. It's still claiming the two things have different fucking energies when they can't. If they have the same momentum, they have the same energy. Man, you're dumb. You totally changed the scenario in your rebuttal. No, I didn't. I totally just applied the equation as you have to apply it. And I pointed out clearly that here's the clear scenario. They're saying Newton is wrong. That's a fact that you're denying. It's explicit right in their statement. It's explicit exactly in the history of the equation. It was created as an alternative to Newton, saying Newton's wrong. That's exactly what they were saying. God, amazing. Which creates a different outcome. How can it create a different outcome? It's a mathematical equation. All you do is apply it. Light train, heavy train, light train. So you're saying that somehow light train to heavy train creates some sort of special relationship where heavy train to light train, now I apply a different rule. I'm saying if you apply the same rules, you'll see that light train has twice as much energy as heavy train. And then heavy train somehow makes twice as much energy back into light train again. Even though heavy train never has any of this extra energy. So how does it do it? Where did it hide it? Where did the heavy train hide the extra energy? Oh, fuck. I was specifically talking about a larger object colliding into a smaller object. That sounds like me. But anyway, the specific scenario is that it should be reversible. It shouldn't matter which way I'm going, it still should make sense. So if it makes sense to you that you can have momentum conserved and lose half the energy, the opposite scenario means you conserve the momentum and you gain half the energy. You gain extra energy from nowhere. If you can lose the energy to nowhere, you can gain it from nowhere. That would be obvious if the thing was consistent. And obviously that's ludicrous. Okay, anyway. In such a scenario, you will not have 100% of the momentum transferred to the smaller object. There's no disputing that in both the videos they claimed 100% transfer of momentum. So again, you keep refuting something that can't be refuted. It was direct, open statements in the video. There's no way to deny what they said. They said it clearly. 100% conservation. And the reason is actually simple in this case. There are no scenarios where a lower mass stationary object, how can it possibly be stationary? We'd have to, well, anyway, let's go finish. Can stop a larger mass object dead in its tracks. So you never played pool. That must be a fact. You've never played pool. It just has to do with how the things hit, whether the energy gets completely transferred. And so again, I'll bring up the kinetic Newton's cradle. You've never seen a Newton's cradle? Because the higher mass objects has more inertia. This has nothing to do with inertia. That isn't in this conversation, idiot. Oh man, you're dumb. Who are you arguing with? Dead people or we're talking about even if you transfer the energy directly. As I stated this already, but I'll state it again just to be clear. Alright, this has to do with the equation, asshole. And you just keep evading the fact that the equation is irrational. It causes irrational effects. So it doesn't, let's just take the interaction between the cars completely out of this, okay? So I have a 1-ton car rolling, okay? And it's rolling 6 miles an hour. And I have a big giant spring. And the spring compresses, and I put a lock on the spring. So the furthest compression I get, I lock the spring. So I've trapped the energy, right? That's not debatable. And I take another car that's a 12-mile-an-hour car, okay, that weighs 1/2 the ton, and I do the same thing. Well, guess what? My assertion is, and Newton's assertion is, it compresses the spring exactly the same amount. Exactly the same amount of energy. Okay, there is no, so by 1/2 mv squared, right, this one has twice as much energy as this one. Yet it will only compress the spring exactly the same amount. Exactly the same amount. Now, if I took that same spring that's compressed, right, and I shoot an object with it, I could just switch these two springs and shoot opposite objects with them, and I'm not going to get anything more out of them. I'm not going to get 4 times the energy anywhere. None of that's going to happen. So why are you pretending this is at all rational? It's completely irrational. These two objects have the same energy. They compress the spring the same amount. And all this whole half mv squared thing is just because of clay experiments. It's not about real experiments that actually do this clinically and carefully, because there is no extra energy, idiot. So show me where this isn't true anywhere. Show me any internet video that proves this isn't true. That this has exactly the same amount of ability to compress a spring. Exactly the same. Show me that video. Show me the video where Newton's proven wrong. Just do it. Or just shut the fuck up. Yeah, well, you already shut the fuck up. Because you're too rude and too obnoxious and too big a waste of time. Who are you arguing with? Dead people? I'm arguing with shitty physicists, morons like you, and of course, yes, the dead. I'm arguing that people in the past got to have authority over what the truth is, and they were idiots. And it's just a tragic mistake that idiots like you defend that kind of crap, like religion. Or people who are currently making arguments. Well, obviously I played 2 videos of people currently making arguments and demonstrate how their arguments are ludicrous and silly and imbecilic. It's a laughing stock of physics. Do you even comprehend who you are arguing against? This is all useless questioning. I clearly do. These are people who have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and they're talking absolute shit. Okay. You would do well by paying attention to physics a little more than watch documentaries. So there's absolutely no evidence that's what I've done. So again, you're lying about what I have done. I've played lectures, okay, all of Professor Lewin's 803 lectures. I actually played them in my videos. So just lie some more. Just show you're a fucking compulsive liar. Alright. Commentator Too Silly already did the analysis. His analysis wasn't anything close to what the video said. So why don't you show me the timestamp in Physics Girl's video where she said, oh yeah, the other cart leaves at 1/3 the velocity. So show where the physics teacher said it leaves at 1/3 the velocity. Show where any of that happened in either one of those videos. Again, you're such a fucking liar. Alright. What the heck are you about? Do you even comprehend the comments you read? Obviously, I know. I comprehend them as what kind of psychotic lunatics exist on this fucking planet. You're too stupid. Alright? If I had any dictator powers, yeah, you wouldn't even be able to drive down the street. You wouldn't get a driver's license because you're so fucking dumb. You think all collisions require there to be a 1/3 transfer. You're a fucking retard. Okay, the entire point of his post was to analyze your proposed scenario. No, it wasn't. It was a ludicrous statement. He didn't at all conserve the momentum, so why are you even talking to me about this? He didn't do the same thing at all. You're a fucking liar. He had 1/3 the momentum, you fucking idiot. Okay, and no extra energy was found. Are you on crack? Well, this is all, again, so useless, so I am glad I blocked you. Oh, that's such an important commentary. Yeah, you really got to my heart there. You really got to the heart of the issue with that bullshit. So you're showing you don't have an argument and all you have is insults, loser. So you're just demonstrating how weak you are. The heavy 2 mass object cannot make lighter m object go twice the speed. So that's what he believes. So even though I can do the experiment for him, I can make a Newton's cradle. I can put a lighter ball, half the size, on one end, and I can put a ball that's twice the size, twice the mass on the other end. And I can swing this ball, and this one will leave at twice the speed. And that's a fact. Undeniable fact. All right. Stop dead. The thing you really need to do to make it work as a Newton's cradle is just to have one ball in the middle so it doesn't move with it. So the idea is to try to keep to have a way of transitioning the momentum without pushing more mass, because you don't want more mass to move. So you have to create a center mass that can't move. But the point is if I just do if we just do the compression, just compress a spring, just drive the car into a spring, the 30-mile-an-hour car, drive it into a spring. It compresses this much. 60 miles an hour, the spring compresses twice as much, and that's all. Not 4 times as much, twice as much. That's all. All right. But clearly the lighter mass that starts out stationary can ever do that. So he says it can never happen. So he's never seen a pool table. He doesn't believe one ball can hit another ball and force the other ball moves and the first ball stops. He doesn't think that happens in reality. So not all the momentum will be transferred to the lighter object like you say. The whole point of the thought experiment is that it is. So you can keep saying it wasn't. That's exactly what I was arguing in the video. They were making the overt declaration. 100% of the momentum was conserved. They overtly said it. This disputes the outcome you say you should be. There's no point. It disputes your outcome by trivial means because, of course, lighter objects have a harder time moving heavier objects. So again, isn't that funny? No, it's energy, idiot. They don't have a harder time. They really don't. If they have a certain amount of energy, they can transfer it to a heavier object much easier, in fact. It's easier for the light object to move the heavier object than it is for the heavy object to move the lighter object, dumbass. Alright, this is elementary kindergarten physics that you are misunderstanding. Well, again, that's obviously my accusation against you. You haven't understood fact 1 here. The things you state are facts are not facts. They're clearly not facts. You haven't provided any video evidence. You haven't provided an authority to argue this. You've provided 0 evidence of any of it. So fuck you. You're blocked for good reason. Because you're a waste of fucking time. And a horrible, disgusting, grotesque liar. Okay. No, sorry. I really shouldn't have to keep doing this, but again, how many times do I have to, go over it before people wake up and smell the shit? I mean, it couldn't be more overt. M times V squared. That's how the formula started. M times V squared. And then 100 years later, they threw a half in front of it. That's how ludicrous this thing is. That's how bad this formula was created. That's what a Frankenstein monster it is. Why do you think it has any credibility? They were 100% off. And then they put a half in front of it to try to fix it a little bit. But it's still way the fuck off. It still makes magical energy. The only energy is movement. Mass and velocity. That's it. There's no other definition of energy. And anyone saying otherwise is just talking shit. Fact. Yeah. Alright. That really should be enough, but whatever. People are just too stupid. They just won't. You're all just belligerently dumb as fuck. You're trying to be stupid. Because nobody could be this dumb on accident.